Hi everyone, so the topic of my speech is gun control beneficial? It's definitely not. I'm going to start with the Constitution, and it states that well-governed armed forces, which are vital to provide security and protection to the independent state, shall not disobey the natural right of a person to bear arms. So the writers of our Constitution clearly wrote it out that it's natural for a person to own a firearm, and it's a right for us to have, and the government should not infringe upon our rights and take it away from us. I think that there should be some control as to who owns a gun involving background checks and where guns should be. Are they allowed in schools and stuff like that? But in general, I don't feel like we should get away with guns and do away with them, period. Many people argue that if we don't have guns or if we regulate it, that there would be less violence and less crimes involving guns. But gun control laws will not prevent criminals from obtaining guns or breaking laws. So criminals will not change even if we do try to regulate guns. This never really touched home with me until I came to college, and I met people from other countries who thought it was the craziest thing to own a gun. And I had a talk with my roommates, and they were like, "Why do you own a gun? It's so crazy." And I told them, I said, well, where I come from, many people own guns, and it's very common, and we use them for hunting, and we also have them for self-protection. Even though it's unlikely for anything to happen that we would use them, they're still there. And they kept telling me that I was stupid for owning a gun, and I told them that, what if someone came into your house with a gun and tried to hurt people that you love or yourself? What are you going to do if you don't own a gun? And they thought about it for a while, and they told me, they said, well, then I would need a gun. But it's not, they said, where they come from, it's not common for people to own guns, and that never happens. Just people, just like gangs and stuff, own guns. And I told her that it was different here, and they agreed that they would own a gun if they lived in my area. So, like I said, it's a constitutional right to be able to have weapons to defend yourself. So, by having gun laws and trying to regulate guns more strictly, it takes power from the people. This is something that's it's a very big issue in today's society with all the shootings that's happening and the murders and people just going into schools and hurting innocent people. But I feel like we should have guns in schools and safe place, and it's about education. We should teach the people how to use the guns in case something like that does happen. We don't have to hide, we can defend ourselves. And I feel like all teachers should have to go through training and have a gun stored in every classroom in a safe place where it cannot be reached. And people argue that, oh, well, if we do that, then that teacher can go crazy and take the gun and use it in an inappropriate way. But that could happen either way. They could get a gun outside the school and use it, or they can take guns from other people, or other people can bring guns. So I feel like we should have better control over what goes in and out of our school, whether it's metal detectors or any of that, or having guns inside the school to use for protection. People tend to say that all the mass murders are because of guns, and everything bad happens because of guns, and people use guns to do stupid things. But one of the worst ideologically driven collective of mass murderers who did not use guns was the 19 Al-Qaeda members who on September 11, 2001 used box cutters to hijack 4 planes, crashed those planes into 3 buildings and 1 into a field, and killed 2,996 people in a matter of hours. I don't think people recognize that many things happen outside of guns, and a lot of things can go wrong either way, whether we have guns or not. So I believe that we should have guns to protect ourselves just in case something does go wrong. I hope this changed your mind or made you at least think and question gun controls and whether we should have them or not. Thank you and have a good day.